Yes. Oh, yeah, I think I'm really bad at that. Cheers. Okay. Okay, y'all. So, first of all, for those of you who are familiar with gardening, and we know what we talk about when we mean gardening, um, when you hear the term live resin, what do you think? When you hear the term live resin, thank you for the likes, thank you for the shares, thank you for the reposts, y'all. What do you think, Lucille?
When I hear the term live resin, I think about plant extract that has been taken from plants that are very recently harvested. So,
Okay.
as opposed to, once you cure the plant up and everything, when we say live, we
Mhm.
means that it's been extracted within, I want to say 24 or 48 hours after the plant has been chopped at the most.
Okay, and you guys, she is an expert in this, so we are going to take everything she says as gospel. All right. Now, for most of you, if you've heard that term, you've probably heard it in the gardening industry. Yes, I right. Has anybody heard that term outside of the gardening industry? Let me know in the comments. Give me some tabs. Give me a thumbs up. Something. Okay. Um, so let me tell you what's happening right now. So there is a wellness company called Pürblack, okay? And they just announced that they are selling something called live resin, but it's not for extracts from our lovely plant. They have the live resin trademarks for different categories such as dietary supplements, skincare products, and chocolate and kombucha tea. So now the right, so they're not even touching the plant, what you call that, CBD, none of that. They're just like, hey, we out here to give you some vitamins, some kombucha, and maybe some face lotion. Okay. Um, the CEO of and the marks have been accepted. So the USPTO said ain't nothing wrong with these trademarks, right? They're
So I'm wondering if they're using the term live resin as a method of extraction. So we've only, extracted the plant, our garden plant that we love so much.
Mhm.
But I wonder if you take the oils or the resin out of, say, oregano, because we know oregano is totally medicinal as well.
Mhm.
If you do it within 24 to 48 hours of the plant being chopped,
Mhm.
is it, maybe it's just live resin is it's we only know it one way, but is that really just the extraction method? I wonder.
Okay, so let me tell you what the CEO of the company said. He said that wellness brands are into what's called adaptogens, peptides, and clean botanicals. So whenever you see a new skincare regime come out, they're like, oh yeah, it's full of peptides, it's gonna plump up your skin, all of that, right? So the CEO is saying that using the term live resin gives instant credibility and shelf presence. So he knows the power of the term live resin, right?
Absolutely. It's well respected in the cannabis industry as well.
And they're saying that they have a patent on an amino acid formulation, and that's supposed to help with health and functional cognition or functional nutrition, right? So while they're not touching the plant, they understand the power of this term live resin, right? Now here is the problem. There is a possibility that hemp prohibition is returning next year, November 13th, 2026. Okay. So a lot of cannabis companies, they're trying to figure out what we gonna do if we can't do at least, hemp. What are we gonna do? Because they're not right, they're not going to be able to really fight the live resin trademark because at least not after November 13th, 2026, if it goes through, because your business will no longer be legal, right? So here is also the problem for Pürblack, the wellness company. Again, live resin, it's widely used in the cannabis industry as a descriptive term for extraction methods. Pürblack owns the trademarks, but enforcing them against cannabis users could be messy because these companies have been using the term generically for years. I remember there was a story I covered. This guy who made, tonics and, natural remedies. he tried to trademark the term fire water. Okay. But everybody who was in that all natural tonic space, they were like, we all use the term fire water. What are you trying to do? That is a generic term in our industry. You can't have it. So he had to drop it. And another thing, there was another story where an Asian dining company, I forget which cuisine uses the sweet chili sauce, but one of this Asian restaurant tried to trademark like crunchy chili sauce or something, and all the Asian restaurants were like, who do you think you are? You are not the only one out here using some crunchy chili sauce, right? So now, when you are at the beginning of an industry, right? Yes, when the terms come out, that's when you want to pounce. But when you are well entrenched into an industry, it's really hard to take something that is widely used and then trademark it. The example I use, my two favorite examples, Bling Bling by Cash Money. Baby did an interview and he said, had I known how big Bling Bling would have gotten, I would have trademarked that word. But he didn't, and it's generic. Another example, Who Gon' Check Me Boo from She by Sheree. She waited, she let everybody run that thing through the ground to the point that it got generic, and Sheree had to partner with Hanes to make her own t-shirts because she could no longer trademark it, right? Wow. So there is trademark, there could be the fact of trademark dilution because people might automatically assume that live resin is associated with the hemp industry, right?
Absolutely, they would.
Okay, and
anything about the hemp industry. So we got to remember, as big as the industry is, it's still very foreign to a lot of people. So they could get to people first, and then, those people are going to view hemp eventually as the copycat. So, I mean, I feel like they're in a separate market, but it's still too close for comfort when you view cannabis as a medicine. Right. If you're talking about healing herbs, that's literally what the plant already is. So that means to me, you're in the exact same market.
Okay. So do you think that Pürblack Wellness, they should try and go ahead with this trademark, or do you think they're treading on very dangerous territory?
I think if they don't want a whole army of potheads on their head, they better do something different. They better pivot, because it's just, it's going to just be, like I said, a lot of people view this plant as a medicine. A lot of people are recreational, but there's still a huge portion of people that are using this plant very medicinally. So it would be kind of a situation like, not to compare it to, but kind of compare it to cooking with Kaya. So you're doing very, womanly things. You're, putting out product, or you could be associated with product that women support heavily, cookware and spices and oils and different things like that. But with your, advertising method, you kind of isolated your key demographic by, saying things like, I'll take your man, I'll do this, I'll do that. I feel like they could kind of do the same thing in really like turning off their target market, being as though, wellness and healing is something that go hand in hand with hemp. So if you've offended like the stoners, that might not go well for your brand.
And you may offend the non-stoners as well, because non-stoners, they may see live resin, and while they may not partake, they may associate live resin with and be like, no, thank you. Right?
Absolutely. I think it would be a lose-lose.
So, this is why you have to be really careful when you think about your trademarks. And, you want, when people think about your name, you only want them to associate it with you. You don't want there to be any confusion out there with other people. So, while I respect the technique, Pürblack, I don't know if this is, I always say you never want to build your business, you build your reputation on somebody else's back, whether on purpose or by accident, right? So I think that Pure Wellness, because as they're making nutritional supplements, right? But how many vendors have we seen who sell, infused gummies for pain and things like that? There is a real possibility of brand confusion out here.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens with Pürblack. I don't necessarily force. Uh, hmm. I can't say that I can't foresee someone trying to file suit, but if they're going to file a lawsuit against Pürblack, they're going to have to file it before this November 13, 2026 date. Because if everything goes as planned and hemp is prohibited again, they're going to have no standing because their business is going to be de facto illegal. So if you got a problem with Pürblack, trademark and live resin, you better contact your congressman.
And so, like, potentially, who would even be like in the running to do that? Would it be like a cookies company or a True Leaf or like who would?
It would have to be, first of all, it would have to be a hemp company because, you know, THC companies are not eligible. Or like a processing company. Let's say there's a company that processes, right? And part of their name has live resin in it, or a product they have is called live. Well, no, because it's a generic term within the hemp industry, so they would come at it from that angle. They would say, look, this is a generic term within our industry, and even if you're not a person who gardens, you know, you a lot of people know what that means when it comes to that term live resin. So if they're going to come at it, they're probably going to come at it from a genericness standpoint as opposed to this is ours. They're going to be like, it's everybody's. Everybody uses this term, right? Yes,
so
yes.
We want to patent it or we want to trademark it. We just don't want you to.
It's basically saying you can't because everybody uses this phrase. There's no way that you're going to be able to differentiate yourself. You know, why can't I pin your comment, Olot? I'm sorry.
You can't pin comment?
I don't know.
I can see the comments that are coming in on your side.
Why won't it let me I don't know why they won't let me pin your comment, Olot, but yes, we are talking about the phrase live resin. And yes, there is a thin line between greed and protection. But when it comes to intellectual property, you are supposed to really, you know, you're supposed to zealously defend your brand. Okay. So if you even think somebody's, you know, using your brand in the presence of donuts, what are you asking me, sir? I'm gonna block you. Sorry, somebody's being silly on YouTube. But what was I saying? Yes. So when you like in the term in there's a difference. There is a fine line between greed and protection, but you do have to zealously defend your brand. Now there are brands that go overboard. One of the big companies that's guilty of this is Monster. You know, Monster energy drinks. If you even dream of a logo that has an M in it, they are ready to sue you. Okay. Now that's too much, but you know, if you okay, I'm blocking you because I don't know what you're trying to do over here, sir.
Yeah, that's just a distraction.
Hold up. How do I block you? Listen, people. I'm trying to teach here. Okay. If you can't be nice, don't comment. Yes. So if you don't want me to block you, stop being weird. Okay. So yes, so live resin, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens with all of that. But you know, let me let me know in your thoughts. Those of you who are watching, do you think that Pürblack wellness should be allowed to trademark the term live resin? What do y'all think? What do y'all think?
I'm gonna stand firm with no.
Okay, that's cool.
I'm gonna stand firm with no, and I think they don't want them kind of problems.
I don't think so either, because it's just like the realms are too. They at a certain point they kind of overlap because a lot of people do see the hemp plant as medicinal, as something promoting wellness.
As it is,
right?
Because they're seeing it correctly.
She said, let it be known, okay? This is medicine. All right. Yeah, but we will have to see what happens with this live resin trademark and see if Pürblack Wellness goes through with it. Okay.
Literally the tea.
Huh?
I said literally the tea. Was stay tuned for the tea.
Yes. So guys, do you have any questions about that before we move on to the next story? Lucille, you have been such a great co-host. Do you want to stay on for the rest of the stories? I know